Hi, my name is Josh and I'm an addict. I'm also the founder of the Accountability Group, which is a social entrepreneurship venture focused on the diseases of substance abuse and mental health. And what we do is we create mobile applications, or a specific mobile application that we're prototyping right now, and we use it to try and figure out ways to get people the help that they need, those that are under-resourced and underrepresented, which is why we started a GoFundMe, and we'll be meeting with VCs and private equity firms to try and figure out ways to expand the company, because it truly is a social venture company. It's not like those other companies where they give 1 or 2%. On our merchandise, we give 25% of the profits because we do have to buy merchandise again. In our GoFundMe, we're giving 75% away of that, specifically to help people. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So let's get into this reading. It's Daily Reflections. Today is July 11th. July 11th, a turning point. A great turning point in our lives came when we sought for humility as something we really wanted rather than as something we must have. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 75. Either the A way of life becomes one of joy, or I return to the darkness and despair of alcoholism. Joy comes to me when my attitude concerning God and humility turns to one of desire rather than of burden. The darkness in my life changes to radiant light when I arrive at the realization that being truthful and honest in dealing with my inventory results in my life being filled with serenity, freedom, and joy. Trust in my higher power deepens. I am convinced that being humble is being truthful and honest in dealing with myself and God. It is then that humility is something I really want rather than being something I must have. This is always like an interesting one for me, and it is a turning point. It's not something that you could have or must have or need to have or would have. It's a willingness and understanding that you have to put in the work. It is a turning point. You have to be all in. There are no half measures. I remember one of the members of my fellowship a few years back said something along the lines. He said two things. One was, what comes from the heart touches the heart. I always found that interesting. And the other thing that my sponsor and grant sponsor always tell me is that you're either working on recovery or you're working on relapse. It's binary. It's black and white. There's no in between. There's no gray area. There's no half measures in recovery. You're either working hard at your recovery, whether it's reading the literature, the Narcotics Anonymous, or the Big Book, or whatever you might be doing, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, going back to the church, whatever helps you and keeps you sober, I'm all for it, because we all have our own individual roads to recovery. I am not one to tell you what your path should be, but for me, it was humility and a willingness. I'm all in on my sobriety. I know how important it is to me because I've done jail and institutions, and I've been on the precipice of the abyss. In fact, I've jumped into that. It's scary, or it has been scary to family members, friends, and doctors, the BAC levels that I've blown before, because at 0.3 or higher you should be dead, and I've blown way higher than that, and I've done a whole lot of other things that you definitely should not have done. So I'm not saying that in some sort of way to be like, oh hey, look at me. I'm saying it more so for either the newcomer or for someone who has plenty of time underneath their belt. It takes a willingness. Some people want it, some people need it, but ultimately it's a willingness to put everything else aside, to understand your own humility, and to put in the work day in and day out. So we'd love for you to subscribe for the channel and like our videos, but ultimately the most important thing for me is the comment section, is the opportunity for either a newcomer to explain where they're at and what's going on, or for someone who has years of sobriety to share their experience, strength, and hope. We never really know which direction it goes. There are so many times where newcomers explain something and it reminds me I never want to go back to that, or they share a piece of knowledge that really resonates with me, or people with a bunch of sobriety underneath their belt, they're dropping pearls of wisdom left and right, and I'm just like, whoa, like light bulbs are just going off. So yeah, for me the most important thing is the comments, because if we can keep people sober for one day, that'd be a really big win for me. And that's the whole reason that I started the accountability group, is that I'm hoping that we can save lives. But to me, ultimately, if we save one life, that is a huge win. That's a big win. So thank you. And with that, stay safe, stay strong, and stay sober. I'm Josh. I'm an addict.